Hello, everyone. Good afternoon and good morning, wherever you are joining us from. Please confirm that you can hear me and I'm audible, I'm not breaking. Please confirm if you can hear me. All right, thank you, Michelle. So, hi everyone once again, and welcome to today's webinar. This is our final webinar for the week and for the month of May. So yes, we want you guys to sit and relax and hear everything we have to offer. I've seen someone raise their hand already. Don't worry, Joyce. You will get, if it's a question, you have the chance to ask your question at the end of the webinar. But yeah, my name is Princess Anne Kesasari, and I'm the marketing event and admin intern at ALU. And today, Donald Furere will join me from the admissions team. He's going to tell you guys about how you can get into ALU. So yes, we'll be your host for today. And for our little icebreaker, I see we are not much here, so the interacting should be good. So in one word, I want you to describe how you feel, like what's your mood right now. For me, I feel excited to have you guys here. And yes, I want to know how you guys are feeling. Do you feel nervous, especially when this is our final webinar for me? So if you're going to see us, it has to be before next month, yes, before the deadline. So how are you feeling? Are you panicking? I want to see answers in the chat. Okay, cheery. That's nice, Abubakar. I'm happy you're feeling that way. Linda is feeling excited. That's good to know. Is anyone feeling nervous? How are you feeling? Just let us know in the chat. Are you cold? Are you tired? It's Friday, it's end of the week, so I'm guessing most people feel exhausted. Hi, everyone. Happy to see you all here. Hi, Onesfor. Michelle is tired already. Sorry, Michelle. Hopefully you get to rest after. Okay, Ira Dukunda said, I'm so excited. Amos is good and excited. Matthias is nervous. Oh, sorry about that, Matthias. Hopefully that feeling will change after the webinar. Hope Ome said, I'm so happy to be here. These are all positive emotions, and I'm glad you guys are feeling this way. So like I promised yesterday, I said today's webinar, we are going to give you more chance to ask questions. So I'm not going to waste even a minute of your time, okay? So let's get right into it. But yeah, you can still let me know how you are feeling. Tyler is feeling eager and excited. So a little bit about ALU. If you joined us yesterday or you've joined us before, I'm sure you've heard about this, but for the sake of the new people joining us today, I'm just going to give you a brief about what ALU is all about. ALU is the African Leadership University, and we are located in Rwanda, Kigali. We are a diverse community, which means that we have over 45 people from the over 45 countries, yes, representing the African continent on the ALU campus. We are a community, we are so diverse. We have people from Kenya, people from Ghana, from Cameroon. These are pictures of some of our students here. And as you've seen, yes, we have a day where we dress and welcome students. They wear their traditional wear and we welcome them. So if you're coming in September, this is an initiation you go through. You wear your African print or your African wear, something to represent your culture, and you dance, food, music, meet old students on campus, and yes, all that. And then we always say the world is your campus. Why do we say that? First of all, you experience your personalized education. What this means is that at ALU, you take ownership of your own learning, right? It's not like the traditional university where you sit in a classroom and a lecturer will teach you what you have to know. ALU, you are given the resources, and we know that there are different styles of learning. Each student has their own way of learning. So we give you the opportunity to take control and yes, learn anyhow you want to, whether if it's 50 hours a day, if you can do that, if that's possible. Then if it's 2 hours a day, if it's 24 hours a day, if it's 8 hours a day, you do that in your own time. I'm not saying we don't have classes. We have classes with facilitators, but the classes can be online or in person, depending on the course that you are doing, right? Then we have the global learning experience. This is where we take students every year. There's like a cycle. We take students to places like the Silicon Valley. We also have hubs in Africa, in Nairobi, in Ghana, in Nigeria, and in Kigali. So for the places outside Kigali, we take students there and they go there to learn and also work for certain companies like in a working space. So let's say, I'm sure most of you know about ALX, that space. There are a lot of companies there and they go there to basically work with them and experience firsthand what working in such an environment is. You also develop leadership skills, like I said, taking youth students to like Switzerland and the US, you get to meet world leaders, you get to meet CEOs of big companies like the Coursera, like Google. As you can see, these are some of our students there. And we just had the last batch this year that came back. And they go to meet these CEOs, learn about leadership, learn about entrepreneurship. ALU, we are all about entrepreneurship. So they learn about some of these skills and come back to apply them in their real life projects and yes, create impact. Then we prepare you for the job market. So like I said, when they take students there, they do internships, especially the learning, the exchange programs in Nairobi, Ghana, and Lagos. They take students there to work for about 3 months, like an internship, so that you get experience. And it also depends on the course that you are taking. That will determine how long or how much internship you can do in the course of your ALU journey. We have some people that do a year, some people that do 8 months, some people that do a year and a half. So once you are done, you can easily secure a job outside. We even have students that have already secured jobs outside. We have students working at Bloomberg, Goldman Sachs, Amazon, doing their internships there, which is a cool thing to do. So you don't really struggle after you are done with ALU, okay? So now that you've heard a little about ALU, I'm going to give it to Donald to tell us more about how you can get into ALU, what's the requirements, the eligibility, your documents you need to submit. Hi, Donald.
Hi, Princess. Can somebody please confirm if I'm audible enough?
Yes, please, you're audible.
Okay, first of all, I think and hope that you are as excited to get to AADU as we are excited to have you. I already see that there are so many burning questions in the chat, but I can tell you to wait a little bit until we can close this presentation so that you can be able to ask those questions. But if you cannot wait, you're welcome to please text them in the Q&A, and member of the panelists will be so happy to help you in the meantime. So without further ado, let me help you all deep dive into the application and the admission processes at AADU, starting with the first slide of how to apply at AADU. So as you may know, there are two things that I need you to first differentiate. First of all, because it always happens to be an issue to many people. So that is to differentiate login and register. So first of all, before starting your application, you have to register, and that is where you have to first fill out these few steps here where we have provide details of more of your details, and then by answering in your first name, middle name, last name, and everything that is asked there, you have to jump to more about you. You also have to fill that, which at the end of it will help you to get to the Survey Monkey, where you are going to start the actual application you're going to access the actual application, where you're going to like make your application that will allow you to submit your application at the end of the day. So that is for register. But if you might by any chance have created your account already, you have to go to login where you have to put there your credentials, and then you have to continue with your application. Princess, next slide, please. Okay. After that, you get to a minimum entry requirement. These are the requirements that we consider before admitting you or accepting you at AADU. So first of all, before you think about applying at AADU, you must consider if you are at the age of 18. And if you are below the age of 18, that means 16, you have to go through a maturity test or a maturity assessment. As for those who are below 16, 15 and below, they are not allowed to apply at the moment, but they can wait a little bit for the next intake where they can get to the chance to apply as well. After that, you have to submit your completed final national exams and graduated certificate on the A level, you have to submit your national exam transcript. That is one of our key requirements. And for those who did not do the NESA national examination, that is for those who are outside Rwanda or didn't do the national exam for Rwanda, they have to go through the process of applying for equivalent certificate, and that is done via Ilembo. As you can see, there is a hyperlink. It is hyperlinked there, and later on, we're going to help you more with that. So after that, you have, so it means that you have to, if you did not do the NESA national exam, you have to submit your equivalent certificate. If you do not do that, you get a preliminary offer, which we are going to get into later on. So another document that you must have is a B2 or above in English proficient, a B2 or any other English proficient certificate. I know there are some countries which are in the Western African Anglophone countries like Nigeria, we have Kenya, and Ghana and other countries that to accept the English that they do in their national exams, where we have WAEC, NECO, and those in Rwanda, they are welcome to do the English AADU English proficiency test that we do at our campus, which are supervised and are not charged. But as for others, they have to go through some standardized English proficiency tests like Duolingo, TOEFL, and so on. We are going to provide you a link to our English guide test, which clarifies and shows all the English certificates that are accepted at AADU. Princess, next slide, please. Okay. Documents that are needed to apply at AADU. For identification, we need a national ID for Rwandans, passports for those international students, but who are above the age of 18, and other documents like refugee ID and so on. But as for those that are below 18, they are required to submit their birth certificate. Another document is the academic documents. You must submit your final national secondary examination results, your secondary school transcripts with all subjects taken, and the grades obtained year 10 to 12. As for Rwandans, it's senior 4 to senior 6. And after that, we also need to submit an equivalent certificate for internationals. And that one you get it from NESA, but via Ilembo. We have to apply for that via Ilembo platform. If available, standardized tests like I was talking about in the previous slide, these are some of the English proficiency certificates that we accept. You can see TOEFL, Duolingo, and so on. Princess, next slide, please. So on this slide, I'm going to be emphasizing or focusing on the admission decision. So at AADU, we have four different decisions that we give our applicants depending on the documents that they have submitted. So the first one we have admitted, and this one is received by students of ALU who meets all the admission requirements. Let's say they have submitted their English certificates, they have submitted their A-level national transcripts, the senior 4 to senior 5, or grade 10 to grade 12 transcripts and everything, and they meet everything. After this step, they usually go to post-admission process, and they get to complete everything as they get ready for the matriculation. We also have a conditionally admitted. Those are students who miss the English proficiency test. Those, I mean certificate. Those that apply with all the documents, but they are missing one document, which is the proof of English proficiency. They are usually given the conditionally, they are usually conditionally admitted. We also have a preliminary offer. This one is given to all students that did especially the internationals, or those in Rwanda that did not do the NESA national exams but did not submit their equivalent certificate. Those ones are usually given preliminary offer. And finally, we have a rejected, which we do not like giving to anybody, but we have to, it's part of policies, and you have to stay have to stick to them, and we give them to applicants who do not meet the C minimum average requirement, or does not meet the minimum requirement of admission in general. Princess, next slide, please. So we are going to a proof of funds requirement to be uploaded. This one has to be uploaded before you complete your campus life section. And NB or NB, it is impossible for any international to get to ALU without first submitting or handing in the proof of funds, which is 5K USD, that has to be under the names of the parents, guardians, or the student, he or she herself. So on that, moving forward to categories that needs to be paid at ALU, we have a tuition, which is 3K per year, accommodation, which is 1,360 USD, area trip room to and meal plan per term, that is per term. I mean, tuition is per year. As for the accommodation, health, insurance, living allowances, those are per term. The accommodation, it is 1,360 USD. Health insurance, it is 180 USD. As for living allowance, it is 460 USD. And about the options available on the proof of funds, we have bank statements that must be in the names of the student, the parents, or the guardians. A proof of another option is a proof of students or education loan from a bank. Maybe let's say that you have applied for a loan in your country, that you have some banks that gives or supports the education, and you were one of the lucky students, so they are going to give the loans. You have to bring that statement or a proof showing that you were given that opportunity. The third option is a proof of tuition and additional costs paid where applicable. And the last one, which is the fourth, is a proof of funding from ALU. Let's say you are given a full scholarship or by ALU or a grant. Let's move to another slide. Next slide, please, Princess. We are going on the dates that you should keep somewhere that where you can see them every day to make sure that you do not miss any of them, because missing any of them might delay or might affect you in one way or the other. There is application deadline, which is 15th of June this year. Offer acceptance deadline is 11th of July this year. Tuition deadline, we have 25th of July, 2025, and the in-person matriculation, which is going to be held on the 25th August, 2025. If you applied before or on the on the deadline, admission decisions are sent out. Oh, yeah. So applications are also open for the January 2026 intakes. Let's say that, like I talked about, for those who are under the age of 16, for those who are 15 and wants to be enrolled in one way or the other, they can wait for this intake, or they can apply here. It is more than welcome, and we'll be getting back to you. Next slide, Princess. We are going on how we are going to support you throughout. We have a help center where you can always go to send a ticket, and agents will be ready and more than happy to assist you in any way possible. You are welcome to ask any question, report any issue, something that is not going well, or something that you need support with, and they will be happy to answer you or give you the support you need within 24 hours. And if not, you can also go to check our articles, Help Center articles, where we we made sure that everything is there about application and everything you need to know about the admission processes at ALU. And you are welcome to check it out anytime that you think you need it, and anytime you have time to do that. Next slide, please, Princess. And application tips, we have one used application guide. It is hyperlinked. Uh, you have to go through it because it has all the answers you need. But if not, you can always reach out through Help Center. Like I said, check the English proficiency guide, which is going to tell you what certificate you can submit, and will accept it right away. You have also to read our Help Center articles or submit a ticket whenever you're facing or encountering any issue that you need. We need to jump in or we need to intervene. If not, you can reach out to our AAD representatives in charge of your country. And last, don't wait till the last minute to start your application, because the earlier the better, like they always say. Thank you, and I hope that is the end of what I had for you, and I can't wait to see you at the campus, and I'll be happy to see you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Donald. So now I've seen a lot of questions about scholarships. How do I get in? How do I get the scholarship? What does it entail? What does it cover? So I'm going to invite Christophe. He's the financial aid rep at ALU, and he's going to tell us everything we need to know about the scholarship available at ALU. Hi, Christophe.
Hi, Princess. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for the previous presenter. As you mentioned, I'm going to take everyone here on the call. I'll sort of give you a brief explanation of what is the AD Financial Aid Program is, and what does it cover, and how can you sort of secure scholarship programs or apply for scholarship opportunity at the African Leadership University AU Rwanda campus. So maybe to paint a picture on what the AU scholarship program is, maybe please go back to the previous slide, Francis. So in a brief, the AU Financial Aid Program is about assisting those who come from unprivileged family across the continent, and basically those who are facing struggles to acquire the financial capabilities to move to post-secondary educations across the continent. And the AU is positioned in a way that it assists in all sorts of areas in terms of university applications, specifically in the ALU application process, and we have set all different support systems to help you acquire your admissions and scholarship process. And so the keywords here to keep in your minds, which is going to be relevant for the rest of the presentations, is that the financial aid program for ALU is only focusing for those who come from unprivileged families or unprivileged communities across the continent. So and if you feel like you meet those basic criteria, or you are part of those who are unprivileged to, or maybe you feel like you're having so much struggles to acquire your or to obtain your higher education's reasons, this is how you can make it at ALU. So the first step you have to make is start your admission applications. And by starting your admission applications, there you will have an opportunity to apply for the scholarship programs at ALU. And how do we select for, or how do we determine the ALU scholarship or eligible applicants for the ALU scholarship programs? We start by, you first start to go through by financial aid calculator, which will then help us determine whether the applicant is eligible for financial aid. When I say financial aid, I mean grants and also the scholarship programs, the fully funded scholarship and the grants, which is under the university programs. So once the financial aid calculator determines you as an eligible applicant for scholarships, then you receive an application form where you complete informations and details and supporting documents to help us evaluate or assess your applications to understand your competence in terms of all different criteria, which I'll mention in the next slide. But that form will help us correct all necessary details for us to understand who you are, where you're based, what kind of challenge you're facing, and what really challenges that you are encountering in your communities. And from there, later after that, the reviewer will review your applications, the submitted form will be reviewed by our team, and then that team will also submit decisions after 2 weeks within submission of your application forms. Keep in mind that all admissions and financial aid decisions are released at the same times. So if you started your admission applications, you shouldn't expect your admission decisions prior to the scholarship decisions. They will come all at the same times. And moving forward, so to sort of put clarity on what you need to meet to be able to be selected for the any of the financial aid programs at ALU, either scholarship or grants. So for grants, you basically there are different criteria, but for scholarships, you have to have at least minimum of 26 years old. And if you are above, that will disqualify you for the scholarship, and you will not be considered if you submit your applications. But keep in mind that the scholarship selection process is preferred to those who are between 18 and 23 years old. But we also have other criteria that we are also observing apart from the age limitations, whereby we are looking for, like I mentioned, the financial backgrounds of the applicants. What was your, or maybe your social status? What was your humanitarian status? Are you a refugee? Are you internally displaced persons? Do you live with disabilities? What was your local impact in terms of the leaderships and also the community impacts that you're making? This is where we evaluate your involvement in or contributing to the community's activities, or you have developed an entrepreneurial activity that is helping your local communities. And also, we're also evaluating your previous academic performances. This is if you have completed your high schools, or you have completed your other maybe short courses after you graduated from high schools. Those are the other criteria that we use to understand who is based fit for the scholarships, specifically for the full scholarships. And also, these are also the criteria that we use for the grants, which is another, as I mentioned, as another financial aid support that the African Leadership University Rwanda provides to those who come from unprivileged family. So I hope this is clear, but if anything is not clear, please write something in the Q&A, and then I will be able to assist you further. But keep in mind also that apart from those like the criteria that we mentioned, the supporting document is very crucial in the process. So you might feel that you meet all the requirements, but not make effort to provide the supporting documents is like so it's wasted effort in your applications. So we usually suggest that those who start applications they have all the necessary documents at their disposal. These are specifically for those who are looking for financial aid assistance at the university. There are specific documents that we need to understand: your household incomes, your personal details, your humanitarian status, your financial standings, and all those kind of details. And so, for instance, if you want to evaluate, if you want to prove your household incomes, please provide a bank statement or a mobile money statement if you don't have bank statements. And if your parents have retired or are no longer working, please submit maybe a termination letter from the previous employer or a retirement letter from the previous employer. And always remember to ask your parents or your guardians to correct like sort of like a stamped documents from the issuer, the company that they previously wrote. It is also possible to write an affidavit from your parents, but always make sure that maybe there is a proof that the document written is legitimate. And there is different ways that you can do it. It's either by providing a stamp from local authorities, or maybe a justification from local authority that the information provided in that affidavit is legit. The other important information when you're providing financial documents is that we are always evaluating document that is 3 months valid from the date that you applied for submitted your applications. So let's say you submitted your application today, so you count backwards towards the 3 months. So if you mean you submitted by the 30th of May, means you'll need to submit up to March 2025. But it is preferably if you submit maybe a 6 month bank statement or mobile money statement, or if you're maybe if it shows your incomes or your financial standings backwards for the past 6 months. So in terms of financial standings, we know that humanitarian people with humanitarian status might not have all those documents. So there is sort of like an exemptions for those with humanitarian status. But if you feel those documents are relevant to your can make your application more strong, please provide those documents. What I mean by those the documents that could support your humanitarian status could be your bank statement, like I mentioned, a letter from your local authority, a recommendation letter from your, if you're still living in a camps, maybe you can submit something from your camp leader. That's still the supporting documents, and which will make your application much more stronger and competent to the rest of the applicants. So in terms of financial standing, again, we know that not everyone was self-sponsoring in high school. So if you received an external sponsor in high school, that's another crucial document that you can provide to show us that maybe in the previous there was this sort of support that you were receiving, and it was supporting you at this extent. Maybe you're supporting 50%, and you're also contributing 50% of it to the tuitions, or in other words. So please make sure you gather all the supporting documents and all the relevant documents that will make your application more strong and competitive to the rest of the applicants. When I say your applicants need to be strong, just remember that you're not the only one looking for the financial aid at ALU. There is so many, like a large volume of applicants applying for scholarships. So if you really want it, your effort is really required at this stage. And you will possibly see it as a result. I will hand it back to Princess to take us through the Q&A.
Sorry, Christoph. I just wanted to add something that is super important to me whenever I'm meeting applicants. Again, speaking of financial aid application, I guess it's always important that we make it clear of how competitive it is. So we received so many applications by intake, probably around 6,000 applications, and most of those students, they are all looking for financial aid, and we have very few offers that we can provide. So while you proceed with your application, also think of what will be your plan B in case you don't get a financial aid, if you are even interested in it. But the reality of this is that it's super hard to get a financial aid from ALU because of how competitive it is. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Onesphore. So now we've reached the Q&A part, which means you get to ask your questions and we get to answer them for you. So I'm going to read a few questions in the Q&A section, and then I'll move to the chat to see if we find. If not, you can also raise your hand and I will call you to ask your question, and yes, you'll be answered. So from Hope Ome, will my financial aid request still be valid after the deferral? What steps should I take to complete the deferral process? I think this is for Christoph.
Right.
Oh,
Okay, Christoph, answer the first question, please.
Well, I think it was it's mainly well, I will still contribute, but please add your own comment as well, Michelle. But when it comes to financial aid, I think people sort of like misunderstand about the admission decisions in deferral. So when you are differing in application, doesn't mean you are starting a new application, so your application will be reviewed. And when you are when you are differing, you are moving your applications, your first application to a different index. Michelle will help me on this one, but I think when you're differing your applications, you are moving all the data that you provided in the first applications to a different intake. It means if you applied for financial aid and admission admissions at ALU, the decision that was made will not change. It will be moved to a different decision. It means maybe you are encountering financial. Let's say you don't acquire scholarships and you encounter financial difficulties, maybe to cover your flights or some of the expenses that you think you will need. So that the deferral opportunity will help you to defer admissions and your scholarship decision to a different intake, but not necessarily giving you an opportunity to apply again or for reconsiderations. I hope that's clarified the questions. Michelle, go ahead for.
All right. Everything Christopher said is true. And how do you complete the deferral process? You just need to go to your portal and under the admissions decision page, you can go ahead and select that you would like to defer your offer and when you want to defer this offer to. So at the moment you can defer if you applied for the September 2025 intake, you can defer to the January 2026 intake.
okay. Thank you, Michelle.
Princess, can I add something?
Yes, Donald.
Since we are talking about deferrals, something that I can add is that you cannot be allowed to defer past two intakes. Let's say that you were admitted in one of our May intake. You are allowed to defer from May to September and September to January, but later than that, it won't be accepted unless you can be able to support your studies, like paying for yourself fully. That's what I wanted to add.
Okay, thank you, Donald. So the next question from Lambert. The question I have is about the financial aid stage. I am done with the other applications, but they show me my username and password are incorrect, yet they are correct. What should I do to access the financial aid portal and see if it works with my username and password?
Can I take that?
Yes, please go
Yes.
ahead.
In that case, if the credentials are not working and try to reset them and it's not still working, what you're going to do, you're going to reach out to us via our help center and we are going to help you. We are going to collaborate with the tech team to make sure that you get other credentials that can help you go through everything that you need to be going through. Is that okay?
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Okay, from Amos.
Princess, just to add on to what Donald has said for Lambert, I have just put the link for the help desk under his query so he can access it there and then submit a ticket.
Okay, thank you. From Amos, you said that during the application, one needs to prove source of financial and other requirements so that one can receive admission letter. But the scholarship application are requiring admission letter. How does that go?
Michelle, can you take that?
Okay.
I don't quite understand the question. Okay, so during the application, one needs to provide proof of source of financial and other requirements. No, it's okay. Perhaps, but the scholarship application is requiring the admissions letter. Christopher, I think this is for you, actually.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's the question is a bit confusing because from the starting questions, is confusing the admission application, the scholarship applications. So,
Yeah.
and also some of the sort of like you remember we made a point where when you are self-funding for to come to Rwanda, you need to provide proof that you are able to financially cover the expenses. So, so to answer you, Amos, so when you're applying for scholarships, before you apply, when you're applying for scholarship and admissions, they will require you financial documents, and those documents will be used to evaluate your eligibility for financial aid. And later on, when maybe unfortunately you are not selected for scholarships because you do not meet the criteria, then you have two options. Maybe if you do not acquire the full scholarships, you possibly will acquire grants or you not acquire any. So it means you full fund yourselves. So if by that stage, the first financial document that you submitted will use to evaluate yourself against the financial aid eligibilities. And by your the raw chance that you had, you were not selected for scholarships. Now the admission team will need to understand your current financial capabilities to cover your expenses at ALU in Rwanda when you're here, because this is it's hybrid programs. You need to be present in Rwanda. So the admission office will ask you to submit a bank statement to prove that you have enough funding to cover the expenses, including your accommodations, the remaining tuition fee, or the tuition fee if you're not awarded a grant, your transport, and all the health insurance and the rest of other expenses, other financial documentations. I hope I made it clear, Michelle.
Yes, but I think it's still a bit confused. Okay, what I'm getting from the question is that the person is saying that when you're applying for the scholarship application, right? Okay, during your presentation, you said you need the admissions letter before you can apply for scholarship. That's what the person understood by your presentation. But now when the person is applying for scholarship, they are telling him that he needs an admission decision first. So he's thinking that when you apply for the scholarship and the admissions, you get an admission letter. You don't get an admission letter before you apply for scholarship. Do you get?
So in that
Yeah.
case, I would say it's you possibly not get the admission letter because maybe on the first stage you will get sort of like a permission to move to the following stage, which is the financial stage, but not necessarily the admission decisions. Because like I said in my presentation, the admission decisions comes together with financial aid decisions. Unless you don't meet all the requirements and you get a preliminary offer where you have to meet all other remaining admission criteria to receive maybe unconditional offer or conditional offer. But if you start your application, you will not get the final admission letter.
Okay. Yes, that's clear. Thank you. So next question, can you choose to only pay tuition and live off campus and cater for your own meals and health expenses? Or can you ask for a grant/scholarship to only cover tuition costs?
But so the ALU scholarship or financial aid program is not structured to an extent where you have specific request. So it's structured to where it's only covering the tuition fee, specifically for grants. So the grant is only covering parts of your tuition fee. So let's say you're choosing entrepreneurial leaderships as your degree programs, which is I think 3,000 US dollars. So if you receive a grant, it's going to cover parts of the 3,000, and the remaining of the amounts that is not covered by the grant will be covered by yourself. So in that case, you're not receiving any support in terms of accommodations or living expenses or your health insurance, those kind of stuff. It's not going to be covered by the university, which means the applicants or the guardian of the applicants will need to cover all the rest of the expenses, including the amount that was not covered by grants. And in case the applicant did not receive the grants and the scholarships, it means he's going to cover the full tuition fee and also the remaining living expenses. And that is on the applicants and the guardians' decision to decide on how they're going to spend depending on their budgets. Did I answer the questions clearly?
Yes. All right. So from Goodness Richard, is transcript important? Can't I use my WAEC certificate?
Unfortunately, you have to use both your WAEC certificate and your transcripts for the last 3 years of high school.
Okay, thank you. Then another question, please, in the financial aid side, I can't see the financial aid calculator. So I got lost. Please, I need more direction about the financial aid calculator, please.
Well, I'm not sure how far the applicant is in the application stage, but before you move to the financial aid application stage is structured to where you have to provide those details into the application process. So we will need maybe further details on the application process on the stage the applicant is to be better. But keep in mind that when you're completing your applications for financial aid, you will also get to a point where you need to add details, like I mentioned the previous, your household incomes, your humanitarian status, your financial status, meaning your previous sponsorships in high school, if it was, or other sponsors that you have, those kind of details, and as it will be requested as part of your scholarship applications.
All right.
Yes.
So we have Emmanuel who wants to ask his question by speaking. Emmanuel, I've unmute you. You can unmute yourself. You are allowed to speak.
Hello.
Hi, Emmanuel.
Yeah. So I have this question. I'm kind of facing some challenges. I've reported to the help desk, but I've not received a many response. It's like I started my application before the May intake. So I think my application was I don't know whether it was just for the May intake or, but when I try to log in my account, my application is still alive, but I can't submit. I'm unable to submit my equivalence. I've been trying to submit the equivalent. When I open the equivalence page, it says invalid page, and I don't know what's going on. I just received my equivalence from Rambo, then I want to submit, but I'm unable to submit. I don't know what is going on. Or should I start a whole application, different application for the application? I don't know what's going on.
Emmanuel, I have a question. Did you recently submit a deferral request?
Yes, I submit my request.
Okay, so what you need to do is your deferral request will be approved, and then once it has been approved, you will regain access to your portal, and that will allow you to submit your equivalent certificate.
Come again. Sorry, come again. You said deferral.
Yeah, I was asking, have you submitted a deferral request?
Yes, I think I submitted a ticket on the help desk. The help desk, that's what I submitted my ticket, explaining my situation to them.
Okay, that's unfortunately not what I'm asking for. I'm asking, have you requested, okay, which intake did you apply for?
So I started application before May. So I think it was May intake.
May intake, okay.
Yes.
And when you received your decision, you knew that you wanted to join the September intake, right?
So I received a preliminary admission for me to submit
Yes.
my preliminary admission for me to submit my equivalence before they give me a conditional admission. But
Okay.
unfortunately, I was working on that before the May intake was closed, so I couldn't submit the equivalence. So just recently, I just received my equivalence. I think just today, just dawn.
Okay.
So
Could
I
you
have
please share your email in the chat?
my email. Okay,
Yes,
sure.
the email that you used in your application.
Okay, sure.
All right. Michelle, can we move on to the next person?
Yes, please.
Okay. Regan, you are allowed to talk. Okay. Let me call. Goodness wants to speak as well. All right. Goodness, you can unmute and talk. Hello, Goodness. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, you're allowed to talk. Okay. All right. I'm going to take a few questions in the Q&A section. Okay, Amos again. I didn't get you very clear. I'm asking that when I'm applying for scholarship, it is telling me to give admission letter, but you said that for me to get admissions letter, I have to prove my financial proof. While I want to get financial support from scholarship, how can I go through this? Christoph, do you get the question?
Yes, I think so what I'll say for Amos is to so the financial aid I'm not sure if he actually submitted those documents on the portal, but if he already submitted the financial aid documents, I would suggest him to I'm not sure if at the moment whether he have already submitted documents, the application I mean, but if he submitted documents, the financial aid documents, and he's currently waiting for decisions to decision regarding his financial aid applications. And now that we have mentioned about the financial aid documents requirements, and feels like he missed that part, I would suggest that he maybe submit a ticket to incorporate those financial documents. But to clarify, I would say that if to get financial aid, to get admissions, you do not need a financial you do not need financial documents. So when you apply for admissions, you will not need financial documents, only if you are going to finance yourself. So you are
Hello.
self-financing.
Hi guys. I'm not sure we're getting the question
Yes.
clearly. Because looking at, I mean, from what I understand, the applicant is saying that they are asked to submit in addition letter, a part of the financial aid application, which does not have to be that way for me. I mean, again, using my experience with financial aid application, and this is my second time hearing from this webinar. I guess there's somebody also asked that question before, but from the way the process is designed, students get an admission decision, I mean, and an admission letters when they receive their first admission decision. I mean, after you have applied and they have been reviewed, and then ALU sends you an admission decision. From the stage, by the time you are still applying, you don't have access to that document, which is now a bit concerning if you guys are being asked to provide that document. Uh, uh, um, I'm going to ask the people who reached out with the same question to reach out to us, giving us the screenshot of the information that they're asking us. That's for us to be sure that everything is still happening the way they are supposed to be. But again, referring to the process that we have, you are not required to provide an admissions letter while you are still applying, because by that time you wouldn't be offered yet an admission decision from ALU. Probably you can look at there is a link that Michelle shared earlier about submitting a ticket. I would advise that you submit a ticket and also give us a screenshot of what documents you are being asked to provide for us to again double check to see if no issues might be there.
All right. Thank you, Onesfo. Now from Laurent, if a student has all the required documents for application, but received the following national exam results, 70 in physics, grade S, grade B in geography, and grade C in mathematics, what are their chances of being awarded a scholarship or gaining admission in general? Also, could you please clarify what minimum academic marks or grades are typically required to be eligible for scholarships at ALU?
Well, I think I'll jump into that one. But so to clarify, like I said, we don't have a specific sort of like academic performances when you're applying for scholarships, because we are looking based off the best out of the applicants. So depending on the pool of the applicant that we received, we will choose the best of those who applied for the financial aid at ALU. So we don't have specific grades, but we are looking for those who have performed better in the high schools, depending on the polls that we have from those who applied. I'm not sure if the second part of the questions, or the first part of the question could be answered maybe by Michelle or Nespor.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can attend to the question. Thank you. Yeah. Again, as I said before, it is so important to remember how competitive the financial aid application is, but more importantly, just to be transparent, our financial aid review process and approval process are merit and the need based. When we talk about merit, there are a lot of factors that we look at. It's not only about the grades that you receive in school. We need to see that you have a potential for leadership. You have a potential to make an impact in Africa, and all of that is proven through the application that you go through. That's why whenever you are making your application, you need to be very careful and ensure that you are providing the best that you can provide. And also, that was the first part of merit. Merit basically, which combines your potential for impact and the leadership, and also your critical thinking, plus also the grades that you received in your national exam. So it's not typical. It's not just about your national exam. There are more other factors that we consider, and then also there's the factor about your financial your needs. Are you really somebody who needs financial aid? And all of that information is checked using the data that we ask you when you are applying. You see the information they ask you to fill in when you are filling in the financial aid calculator. So all of that is based on to make a decision. So it's not really just about the grades, but there are many other factors that some are even internal that we can now communicate here.
All right, thank you, Onesfo. So it's already time, but I'm going to give 5 more minutes so we can take a few questions if that's okay with you guys. Okay. There's a question from Erwin. If someone is orphan, I think they've answered this. If someone is orphan and their father took care of them and their father is late and they provide death certificates, is that enough for financial aid? But yeah, they already answered this. It does not only require one thing to get the financial aid. There are a lot of requirements and criteria that they consider. So you have to go through the link. I think there's a link that they shared about requirements to know the documents that you need to submit, but it's not just one document that can make you get the scholarship. From God, okay.
Princess, sorry, just one thing to close Emmanuel's issue. Emmanuel, I just noticed that your application that had gotten the preliminary offer was deactivated, and that's why you could not access the portal. I've requested for it to be reactivated, and I've seen that you had tried starting an application with the other two, other two applications with the same email. So those will be deactivated, and then the one where you got the preliminary offer will be reactivated, and then you can continue the application. I hope that's good. So you'll continue with your preliminary offer. Yeah, that's all I'm trying to say.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle. Hey, Albert, please, I would like to ask a question concerning financial verification. What should I do if my parents do not have any bank account statements or mobile money records to show proof of income due to the nature of the rural area we come from? Christoph? Oh, is Christoph here? Okay.
I think he's frozen, but
Oh.
the question is to do with what should I do if my parents do not have a bank account for statements or mobile money records to show proof of income. Oh, Christoph, are you back?
Christoph, we can't hear you. You are breaking. We still can't hear you. Christoph, we still can't hear you.
Can somebody mute him and then Michelle proceed with the answer?
Okay, I'm going to do that.
All right, thank you. So in this case, what I would advise, or rather what I have seen the financial aid team advice is for the applicant to get proof of this, probably a letter from the chief of the community or the governor, whoever it is who manages the community where you stay, just to say that your parents don't have a bank account or mobile money, and you still need the financial aid as what you have stated in your application.
All right, thank you, Michelle.
Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, Michelle. Again, I'll give another context if I was sure about what state the applicant is at, because there are financial documents that we ask part of our financial aid application. And if that was the question, your answer is the right one. So I comment on the answer that you just gave. But if we are talking about the financial documents that we ask part of the immigration requirement, basically you giving us a proof that you can be able to afford if you're an international student, yeah, that will still be required regardless of your situation, because the question here is you don't have financial aid, so can you afford? And then how do you prove that? So basically, you have an answer to the question, and then if you know that you can afford, unfortunately, you'll not be able to proceed. But if you can afford, you need to prove that via either a financial, a bank statement that shows the required amounts, or a letter of commitment of somebody who is willing to pay for you, and also their financial statements. So again, the answer will depend on what stage you are at. If you are still part of the application, please refer to what Michelle recommended you. And if it's about enrollment requirement, basically after you receive your financial your admission decision, you need to provide those documents.
Okay, yes. Thank you. Okay. So from Davis, I applied for a scholarship for the May intake and was given a partial offer. I chose to defer it to the September intake, but until now, they have not accepted my deferral. I would like to ask when I should expect a response or what steps should I take next.
Donald?
Thank you. If that applicant is sure that he or she has sent a deferral request, he should get a notification showing that his deferral has been processed not later than today. I think we are half of the list of the students that we are processing their deferrals and should be done today. If he is among those, he's going to get the deferral request approval today. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, goodness, can you please explain the equivalent certificate more and what documents do they need to be equivalent?
Donald, would you like to?
Sorry, I didn't get the question well.
The documents that are required for the equivalent certificate application.
Oh, okay. First of all, there is a passport which represses the national ID if you are an international. There is the high school, national high school transcripts, and then the senior 4, 5, and 6 if you're from Rwanda, and grade 10, 11, and 12 if you're a foreigner. And then another is the fee of 1,000 Rwandan francs, which is equivalent to $1. That's it.
Okay, so this will be the end of the webinar today. Unless the team can take more questions, but yes, please make use of the application guide. The link was posted in the chat, but I'm going to do that one more time. So please use the application guide. You also use the help center articles and the submitting a ticket link to submit a ticket if you have more questions. I see most of you still have questions, but don't worry, you can still use this medium to reach out to us, and the team will respond to you guys. You can also send an email if you have access to the admissions team email or financial aid team email, and a representative will respond to you within 24 hours. But yes, this is all time can allow us to stay and offer. But yes, please do what to reach out to us, and make sure to submit your application if you have not submitted. Deadline is on the 15th of June, which is in 2 weeks. It's not very far. If you need to get documents, you need to start getting all your documents now, notarize them, all the things you have to do, so you don't rush through your applications and make mistakes. We don't want you to lose an application because of a mistake you made. So please take your time and go through everything before you submit your application. If you want to reach out to us, you know how you can also reach out to us, and we'll be there to assist you. For those of you asking about ALCHE, you can check the ALCHE website and the Instagram pages. You will know when we'll be hosting webinars for ALCHE, but this one was strictly for ALU, which is why we did not take any questions for ALCHE. But yeah, hopefully there will be one more webinar before the application deadline. So thank you so much, Donald, Michelle, Onesphore, Christophe, everyone for joining us today and for helping us get our answers answered, and yes, understanding the ALU application processes. Thank you guys too for joining us on the call today, and hopefully everything we said here helped you and you get clarity of everything you needed. So yes, I'm going to end the webinar. Have a lovely weekend. Next week, Monday, we'll share a recording to your email, the recording link. So in case you missed any part of the webinar or you want to revisit any part of it, you can do that by next week, Monday. So thank you, everyone, and have a lovely weekend. Bye.